Today, we're diving into the pretty incredible story of Eric Schrody, who you probably know better as Everlast. I mean, this is a journey of a true musical chameleon, a guy who went from fronting one of the biggest party bands in hip-hop history to becoming this Grammy-winning bluesy singer-songwriter, all while literally facing down death.
So picture this. It's 1998. Everlast album Whitey Ford Sings the Blues is a smash hit. It's triple platinum. It's all over the radio. But behind all that success, his life was completely falling apart. A life-threatening heart surgery left him with an artificial valve in his chest, and because he didn't have health insurance, he was totally broke.
He actually had to sell this beautiful home he'd bought with all his music money, and as the movers are taking out the last of his stuff, he spends one final night there, just on the floor of an empty room. He's just watching the city lights of LA come on, one by one, and right there, in that moment of just absolute despair, a song just pours out of him, a song about sinners and mortality and finding some kind of life.
So you gotta ask, how did he get to this point? I mean, how does the guy who told the entire world to jump around end up here? Well, let's rewind the tape and find out.
Okay, let's go back to where most of us first met him, as the frontman for the legendary hip-hop crew House of Pain.
So after a solo album that didn't really go anywhere, he gets together with his buddies Danny Boy and DJ Lethal, and their first single, Jump Around, well, it was an absolute monster. It was a global anthem that you still hear everywhere. But then, just 4 years later, at the release party for their third album, he just walks on stage and quits. Just like,
you know, what really made House of Pain work was that they were authentic. I mean, this was the era of novelty acts like Vanilla Ice, but these guys were credible. That whole Irish street tough thing, it wasn't an act, it wasn't manufactured. It was just them.
The vibe they had was just pure, chaotic fun. In his own words, Everlast said it was all about drinking beers and slam dancing. They were living that rock star life to the absolute fullest. And for a while there, it was everything they ever wanted. But you know, every party has to end. That lifestyle that felt so fun and rebellious, it just started to feel like a job. It was a routine. He was getting tired of it. He felt stuck creatively. So he just walked away from the whole thing to go find a new voice. And this is where we get to his complete reinvention. I mean, this was a massive, massive risk. It was a move that was either going to make his career or break it for good. And the change couldn't have been more dramatic. Seriously, look at this. He traded in that high-energy, party-all-the-time hip-hop for something totally different. A gritty, soulful mix of blues, rock, and hip-hop that was super personal, really introspective.
And the crazy thing is, this whole new sound was basically an accident. He was in the studio trying to make a pretty standard rap album. But one day, he's just kind of messing around strumming a guitar, and he comes up with this song he calls What It's Like. His producer, Dante Ross, hears it and immediately says, whoa, wait, that's it. That's the direction you need to go. And boom, a whole new identity was born.
and boy, did that risk pay off. The album sold over 3 million copies. What It's Like was a gigantic hit, and Everlast proved that you could totally reinvent yourself and actually find an even bigger audience. So where did that name Whitey Ford even come from? Well, it was actually a nickname his dad gave him after the legendary Hall of Fame pitcher for the New York Yankees. It was kind of his way of creating this whole new character for this new bluesy chapter of his life. But right at this peak, this moment of total triumph, as he's literally putting the finishing touches on this masterpiece album, his body just gives out on him in the most terrifying way you can imagine. The very same day he finished recording the final vocals for the album, a heart defect he'd had since birth caused his aorta to tear. I mean, the timing is just unbelievable. He finishes what is arguably his life's work, and his life almost ends. While he was recording, he was complaining about chest pains, and his producer just kind of brushed it off, told him it was probably just indigestion. It's a chilling little detail that shows you just how close he was to tragedy, with no one around him having any idea what was really going on. Luckily, another producer heard him screaming in pain later that night and called an ambulance. Everlast woke up 4 days later. He'd survived emergency open-heart surgery, and his life was, well, forever changed. And it was this near-death experience that led to his most profound change yet, not just as an artist, but as a human being. This was his rebirth. Now, the story that happens next is just incredible.
A few months later, the legendary Carlos Santana is putting together his huge comeback album, Supernatural. And he tells Everlast that an angel came to him in a dream and told him exactly who to collaborate with. And Everlast's name was on that list.
And what song did Santana want him to sing? Put Your Lights On, the very same song he wrote on the floor of his empty house at his absolute lowest point. And that collaboration, it won them a Grammy. It's just a beautiful, almost unbelievable full circle moment.
This whole period also lined up with a huge spiritual change for him. He had converted to Islam back in 1997, right before the heart attack, and he credits his faith with giving him the strength and the honesty to write those deeply personal songs that really defined his new sound. And this kind of brings the whole story together, right? From Santana's dream about an angel to his own journey of survival and finding faith, Everlast really came to believe in this idea of a guiding force, a kind of destiny. And it's a belief that was really forged from hitting rock bottom and somehow finding a way back.
You know, Everlast's story really makes you ask, what does it mean to be an authentic artist? Is it sticking to your roots like he did with House of Pain? Or is it having the courage to tear it all down and rebuild yourself from a place of raw, painful honesty? His career is a pretty powerful argument for the second one.